To me, Special Olympics isn't just a sports organization, it's a movement of hope and inclusion, something I never thought that I'd be able to experience. I'm so honored to be representing Team Minnesota this summer, and we'll be going for gold in tennis this upcoming games. We have an exciting agenda for you, including an update on the USA Games plans and a discussion about how you can get started employing people with intellectual disabilities. I have been diagnosed with 12 intellectual disabilities, including fetal alcohol syndrome, probably should use this, ADHD, PTSD, and anxiety and major depression disorders. While some would look at these as negatives and may pass judgment, I see these as a strength. I have a positive perspective on my disabilities and have gained valuable life skills and knowledge because of my differences. I have gained a strong sense of work ethic, responsibility, and attention to detail. These skills have been learned in spite of my challenges and make me a stronger and more motivated employee. Employment is a really important topic to me. I've been working since I was 15 years old and have a lot of triumphs and trials throughout my years of working. I have worked in many different fields, including small restaurant management, healthcare, and clerical positions. I have been able to learn, grow, and surpass many challenges that can be faced with working with disabilities. Currently, I work at Putt Shack, primary as their sole cocktail server, and in the last meeting we had, I was informed that our location has gone up from the 6th in total beverage sales to the 3rd in total sales for the entire company. I was told due to the cocktail sales that I, as well as the other wait staff, have brought in, being the only cocktail server, I was recognized for the majority of that, so it's really inspiring. This has made me feel like a respected and valued part of a team and has helped me highlight the positive attributes that my disabilities have given me and not dwell on the negative image or perception that some people, with someone that has disabilities have and may encounter. This has made me feel like I am a member of the community and a contributing member of society as a whole, and I am making an impact on many levels. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time to hear a part of my story. I hope this moment will bring an opportunity for inspiration, encouragement, and change in our communities. At this time, I would like to welcome Christy Sovereign, the CEO for the 2026 USA Games, to give you an update on the plans for the Games.
Okay, Cassie, that was amazing. And I know Cassie is joined by many Special Olympics Minnesota athletes that are here today. So can we give it up for Special Olympics Minnesota athletes that are in the room? Yay. You are our why. You are why we're doing what we're doing. We can't be more excited. I'm Christy Sovereign, as Cassie said. I have the privilege of CEO responsibility for the 2026 USA Games, games that are 219 days away. Our board chair, Adam Jerpy, is here. Where's Adam? Somewhere. Every conversation that starts, that Adam is included in, starts with it's X amount of days away, which just hits you between the eyes and is a reminder constantly of how fast the time continues to come. But again, it's great to have this group convened. This is a really important group of people who've leaned into not just this event, this moment, but have leaned into this movement in a very, very important way. So we've got an important topic we're going to talk about today, unified work, which we'll get to in due course. But again, a very, very warm welcome to you all. Adam is joined by other members of our board today. If you wouldn't mind just standing up, waving. Thank you, David, Roberto, Adam. Thank you for your support. Okay, I have a clicker here somewhere, I'm told. Kyle, thank you. Thank you. I can't be trusted until I actually have to click and move, don't I? Okay. All right. This is who's here. This amazing group of partners. There's 40 logos. We actually counted and then double counted and triple counted last night. 40 partners that are represented on this slide. This is contracted as of the beginning of this week. If it weren't for what you all are doing, the support that you're bringing to this, the movement that you're helping propel, everything that we're going to be talking about today wouldn't be happening. So please, can we give it up for this group of partners here? Yes, before we go any further. So what are we doing? Many of you have seen this slide numerous times. We endearingly call it our super slide. It is the representation of the games in the context of the broader Special Olympics mission. Again, it is a moment that last week in June 2026, but it's so much more in terms of what we will be focused on both on and off the field. On the field, of course, we'll be competing over 3,000 athletes will compete in 16 different sporting competitions at the University of Minnesota and the National Sports Center. But off the field, we'll importantly be advancing priorities in the space of health and wellness, in the space of youth inclusion, and in the space of athlete employment, which we're going to spend quite a bit of time on today. I have been asked, boy, it's been some time since we've all been together as a partner forum. What has the team been focused on? What's keeping everyone busy? So I thought I would do my best to try to summarize some of what I would say are the more important things, the more important activities and things that are being planned here. So let me highlight, and these things all are uniquely Minnesota. These represent priorities that will distinguish Minnesota from some of the other USA games. In the top left there, our law enforcement torch run is one where the torch will be lit May 29th in Chicago, and it will truly travel end to end across the US. It'll hit 15 different markets, important media markets, and planned importantly to be able to travel through those cities and give visibility to what is coming to Minnesota and give visibility to all these athletes who will become giving it their all, right, and putting their abilities on display. Once in Minnesota, it'll hit 15 or 12 different stops in Minnesota before it, of course, lights the cauldron to officially open the games on June 20th. Next to it, one of the things that we said was very, very important to this games was really not just, quote unquote, delivering an amazing athlete experience to the games, but delivering an amazing experience for everybody who partakes. Coaches, volunteers, families, fans. How do we make sure that this moment is one that is fully appreciated, right, and elevated around what we're trying to do? Those discussions, right, that designed what it is that we'll be delivering, much of pointed to the opportunity for us to invest in technology that could be brought to bear, right, to support the game. So we're really, really excited that in May of this year, we will be making available the 2026 Games app. And that app will be one that'll enable us to bring a digitized experience, be it athlete schedules, be it athlete results, be it fun things that are happening in the fan zones, be it, different things, right, that'll enable us to communicate with athletes and families and fans. So it represents the single biggest technology investment that has ever taken place at an elite USA Games like this, and we're quite excited to be able to put it out in advance of the games. We are holding this meeting here today at the Mall of Americas because we're thrilled that we are open. We just opened today a retail experience, a store here at the Mall of America, and couldn't be more excited. It is located over north. Beth is in the room here, but north 18. Anyways, we'll I'll have proper information before the meeting is out. But this retail experience, again, came all of feedback from our incredible Athlete Advisory Council that told us we want the opportunity to experience the games from a merchandising and retail perspective in advance. So this retail space provides us not just sales opportunities, but opportunities for our athletes to put unified work on display. It provides us the opportunity for ambassadors to come do meet and greets and different other things. So we're really excited about what will be the grand opening of it. You get a sneak peek today with a discount, but the grand opening of it tomorrow, and it'll run through January 10th. The athlete experience, of course, nothing more important to us in terms of how we're planning to deliver what is an exceptional athlete experience, an experience that enables them to perform at their highest, but also an experience that leaves memories for a lifetime in what is not just the competitive experience, but all the special events and opportunities to engage in athlete villages and make friends for life and all those other things. So lots going on in the athlete experience area, but you see a picture of one of our athletes with Champ. Champ is our mascot for the 2026 games. It's the first ever live mascot for it. Champ will be making different appearances at the store at different times. Of course, Champ will be all over the games, the week of the games. Certainly, anytime Champ's in the room, you can't help but smile and enjoy what a therapy dog brings to all of us in terms of emotion and what it'll bring to our athletes. And last but not least, fan and community engagement. We will not just have a single fan zone for the games, but we will have three. Our anchor fan zone will be at the University of Minnesota, where daily and nightly programming will be delivered. We'll have another fan zone up at the National Sports Center, and there will be a third fan zone here in the Rotunda at the Mall of America over the course of the week. Why are we so invested in community engagement? We are so invested in community engagement because what we want is for this event to not be seen as just something for that community, the ID community. We want this event to be seen and embraced and enjoyed by the whole of our community. So a lot of intentionality to how do we bring the community in. And guess what? When we bring the community in and we fill the competitive stadiums and we fill what is all the special events and we fill all these community engagement spaces in our fan zones, it means there's new audiences that we've introduced to the movement. And I dare them to not be transformed by what they will come see and experience. And I dare them not then to want to be involved in some way, shape, or form post the games. And in the end, that is the legacy that we want to leave. We want to have a wonderful event, but have in its wake way more athletes, way more coaches and volunteers, way more families who are seeing the transformative impact of this incredible organization, way more partners, supporters, and. So we can't wait to be introducing all the different ways that the community can engage broadly to celebrate all that will be on display, all the ability that'll be on display that week. All right, I'm going to pivot to what is our topic today. My sister is an athlete, and I always say I've had the benefit of what has been 40 plus years of engagement with this amazing organization and mission for that time. I am one of the family members that has had a front row seat to see the transformative impact. I've seen a lot of these events. I've seen off the field impacts that have had as much value that they've brought to our ID community as what's happened on the field. It was new information to me to come into this chair and learn a statistic from Special Olympics that said only 18.5% of people with intellectual disability are employed to the level of their ability, as compared to what is about 65 or 70% in a non-ID population. That is a crisis of under and unemployment. And our team looked at this and said, shame on us if we're not using the platform of the games to be able to be bringing something like this front and center and seeing what we can't do to make a difference. So very proudly, our efforts have included a number of unified work activities, and they will culminate in what is a unified work summit that'll take place the week of the games. That summit is being sponsored by Accenture. I'm very proud to have Accenture colleagues here today that will bring to life some of this work. But Accenture, among many of the other partners in this room, heard this statistic and said, how can we help? We want to be part of the solution. And that has been so incredible in response to be able to bring forward what's a conversation like we'll have today that we hope continues long after the week of the games. Our goal ultimately in the wake of the games is to have 18.5% be something significantly greater than that in terms of the type of exposure to this, the amplification of it, the assets that we can provide to partners and athletes both to again make sure that the ability that we see these athletes bring forward on the sporting field can be brought into the workforce to have the same type of impact on us. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce a colleague of mine, Rich Berhansel. Rich is a senior executive on our Minneapolis team at Accenture. He is our global health lead at Accenture. Among a number of very, very important contributions that you make, Rich said, boy, let us help in being part of this solution. So Rich, I invite you to come share kind of what was some of our early conversations and the impetus for what we'll get to next.
Well, thank you, everybody. It's just incredible privilege to be here. I would be remiss without starting with how impressed I am with dropping that, and with Cassie's part. I was inspired by that. I hope you all were too. I mean, what an incredible story, and I know there's so many stories like it. So thank you for the opportunity to be here and hear that story, and to be a part of this. I am incredibly impressed by the mission of Special Olympics. I'm also just impacted by the spirit of inclusion, the courage that people show who are participating, and the sense of community, which is obvious. People like each other. They want to be around each other. They want to engage with each other. I'm so sorry I broke your thing. It happens, I'm sorry. I broke my computer yesterday, so there might be a trend. I wanted to talk a little bit about and sort of echo a bit of what Christy mentioned. This focus on ability and not limitation is such an important point. At Accenture, we do that too, right? Our expectation and our commitment to inclusion and diversity is about that, right? We are about looking at folks' potential. We're about trying to figure out where they're going to best operate, where they're going to become the best version of themselves, and how they can reach their potential. And I see that here too. And what we're going to talk about here today is aimed exactly at that. I think about, I work in healthcare. Adam is my old client. By the way, you have the right person to keep you on schedule, in Adam. When I think about healthcare and I think about the analogy of nursing, in some cases, we have nurses who are not working to the top of their license. What does that mean? That means that they are capable of doing something more than what they're being hired to do. And we want them to work at the top of their license. They want to work at the top of their license. Now, if we bring that back and talk about that in the context of the ID population and the folks here and the folks that we know, that's the same thing. It's a human need. It's an interest to be able to take advantage of opportunities to be employed and work at the top of the ability. The other thing to mention here about our Accenture point of view is we think about accessibility in our team members and our employees. We certainly think about advocacy. You're seeing it here today. You're seeing it in Christy and the amazing team that spend their time here and in a broader sense. And then allyship, which is also you see here today. It's super important for us to all have a role to play and to be able to contribute in a meaningful way. Now, when I got my hands on this, and by the way, I'm going to steal a little bit of Frankie's thunder. She's going to come up and be the star in a moment. This is the Unified Work Playbook. On your table, there's one of these that's printed out, and then there's a card that you can use your fancy phone and scan now and go look at it if you'd like. I was so impressed with this piece of work, and I know it was and Frankie will talk about the team that did it and what went into all of that. It is really thoughtful, well-researched, and it is aimed at employers like us, right? It's aimed at folks that can provide employment to ID people that want to be employed in that environment. And what I like the most about it, I'm not going to talk about anything but one page because the rest of it's your thunder. I like page 9, and I wish we hired everyone the way it's described on page 9 to focus on what people love and what they need. That's just super powerful, and if you take a look at this when you get an opportunity and think about your own experiences in hiring people, wouldn't we get so much further if we really took the time to understand what makes them tick? What do they love to do? And then what do they need so that they can thrive in that role? Fairly simple, but I regret to say I'm not sure that's always how we do this in the broader sense. I shared this with my sister, and you don't know my sister, so I'll tell you who that is. Her name is Dr. Wendy Burhansel. She's a district superintendent, District 2 in Colorado. She happens to be the national superintendent of the year. You do not need to applaud because you've never met her. She told me I had to say that if I used her as a reference. She has an obnoxious number of trophies. I don't have trophies, so long at Accenture, no trophies. But she was so excited about what I shared with her about this material. And she really quickly connected it to the education purpose that she and her district have. And it is about people with all abilities having opportunity. And so to do that, we have to be flexible. We have to know the individual. We have to be able, and in her case, teach them, right, and prepare them for broader life. And in the case of employment, give them the opportunity. So I want to say that this is more than just getting together and talking about a beautiful piece of work that's been done. I think it's a bit of a call to action. Among this impressive employer group that Christy mentioned and showed her a moment ago, we have the collective power to fix this, at least in this community. So take advantage of that content, work with each other, network with each other, and I just thank you for the opportunity to be here. What a privilege it is. So I'm going to hand this back over to Angie. I'm not Angie, Christy.
Thank you, Rich. All right, many of my comments. So, what is the playbook? Again, I might steal a little bit of Frankie's thunder. The inspiration for this playbook that Frankie's about to introduce came from, I'm going to brag about Roberto on our board, came from what was a conversation that we had with Schwann's very early into this journey. We were talking about the games, we were talking about the importance of not just delivering, right, value that we can bring to the ID community on the field, but off the field, and got to the statistic of 18.5%. And it was Roberto and the Schwann's team that said, oh my gosh, how can we help? And what does it entail to get started? And I took that back and thought, oh my gosh, how do we answer the question? And certainly if Schwann's is asking the question, how many other employers are saying, oh, I had no idea and I want to be part of the solution, but how do I get started? So really the inspiration for the playbook is how do we use some of our Accenture muscle power to not put an answer in a book, but curate what is a set of resources that can help both employers and employees, obviously the employees, those in the ID community, right, to be able to understand how we create a work environment that is conducive, again, to making 18.5% something more than that. So I couldn't be more excited to introduce Frankie Piccarelli. Frankie led the work, the team that put together this asset that I will let you introduce properly beyond my table setting, and then our incredible panel that will bring to life some of the stories that were illustrated in it. So with that.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. If I could say one thing about the quality of work and a value system I have about work, is that work is personal. And this body of work for my teammates and I was truly, truly personal. And it wasn't done by experts. It was done by everybody mentioned in this room. We interviewed many, many people. We had a lot of conversations. And then we came back as a team and had a lot of difficult conversations about what this should really be. And with hundreds of playbooks in the marketplace, what should this look like? How should this feel? And more importantly, how would we inspire people, organizations, and organizations are only as good as their people, to play along with this playbook, to believe in the capabilities of others. And so I'm not really the star, and neither is our playbook, but our panelists are. So we are going to review quickly. We interviewed everyone, we drafted, we redrafted, and what our playbook really is a map of the ecosystem. Anything that you would want answered around how to get started and how to answer your most uncomfortable questions, you're gonna find a link to an expert that has written a body of work that will help answer that question, or better yet, you're gonna find a link to an organization where you can phone a friend, because this is personal, work is personal. And this is a short preview of what the book looks like. And again, you can click on this beautiful little QR code, or you can flip through the one copy and share with your friends at your table. But what we wanted this to feel like artistically was a coffee book read, so that you could pick it up and be inspired by how it's crafted and designed, so that you want to keep reading. Because we want to truly inspire how we can move this needle forward and believe in the capability of others. And so to that end, I'd love to invite my panelists up, because we're going to talk about how to make that happen. Welcome, Paul, Tyler, and Jean. We have one mic, so we're going to share. Our panelists are going to spend a couple minutes apiece introducing themselves and telling you a little bit about their stories. Tyler, would you like to go first?
For sure. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tyler. I'm an athlete with Special Olympics Minnesota, and I'm also a full-time Boston Scientific employee.
Good evening. My name is Paul Dimmitz. I'm a lead production supervisor at Boston Scientific and had the honor and privilege of bringing Tyler to Boston Scientific and continue to work with him today.
Hello. Hello there, my name is Jean Eglinton. I'm the Vice President of Employment Services at MDI, which is a Minnesota company. We are a nonprofit social enterprise with a mission of employing people with disabilities. And Paul and I have a relationship that goes back probably about 8 years in your journey of hiring people with disabilities.
Thank you so much for your introductions. So we're gonna get into a little bit of story time. Paul is gonna tell you about the first time he took an ice plunge, and then he's gonna follow that up with how him and Jean really connected over how to get Boston Scientific involved in our mission.
All right, so here we go. Personal story time. I've been at Boston Scientific for about 15 years. And 15 years ago, I took my first polar plunge here in the Twin Cities, and I drank the water. I drank the water not just about the fun experience that was, but I drank the water about seeing the opportunity that there is within the community to do more for allowing people with ID or other disabilities to be gainfully employed. And I work at a company that is huge and has a very prominent presence within the Twin Cities, and I wanted to know what I could do to move the needle and do more within Boston Scientific. So my journey from that first polar plunge was understanding and reaching out to MDI to go do some benchmarking, actually, to understand. There was an article in the Star and Trib, right? And to understand what it looked like to have an employment force of over 50% individuals with disabilities. How do you do it? What does it look like? So we went and we spent a good 3 hours, I think, overall, just meeting and talking and discussing things at MDI, and then being put into contact with another organization called Mindshift, which is a staffing agency here in the Twin Cities that deals with employment services for those with ID, and having them come to Boston Scientific and walk through our production area and see what it is that our MDS, medical device specialists, do on a daily basis. And when they came out, and Gene, you've been there too, they're like, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, right through our manufacturing area. And Boston Scientific does do employment, right, with those with disabilities. We're very involved with Disability In, but those employment opportunities up till that time were more on our IDL population. People who have gone to college, gotten the degree, our engineers have an opportunity to move forward. What I wanted to do was look at an opportunity to bring somebody in the Twin Cities into Boston Scientific on the manufacturing side, to be out on our production floor, to make medical devices that change, improve, save lives on a daily basis. That brings passion. And for individuals, as Tyler will talk about, I'm sure, knowing that they're making a difference in their community, that they're changing lives, and they're doing adult things. So we started this journey. We continue this journey. I'm proud to say that Boston Scientific in Maple Grove currently has an office space for Mindshift to be able to be there on site and work on continuing to flow more talent into our manufacturing area at Boston Scientific. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Tyler.
Tyler, first, before we get into your work at Boston Scientific, can you tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing at the games this year?
Yeah, I guess I didn't mention that part right off the bat. It's the sport I'm competing in. So I'll start off as my role in the games. I'm an athlete advisory council member with my man David Booth over there. Sorry to put you right on the spot, but you deserve it. Okay, great. Yeah. But I am also on our softball team for the upcoming games, so it's going to be really amazing to compete in one of my favorite sports on the national setting in our home state, which, I'm excited, which goes beyond words.
And what position will you be playing?
Normally I play right field, but I've been practicing third base recently.
Let's give Tyler a round of applause. Tyler, can you tell us a little bit about your work at Boston Scientific?
Yeah, for sure. And this journey goes back 4 years ago when I started with Mindshift. And should I mention how the process began before I even walked in the door to your company?
Sure. It's your story, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, how the process began, it was a meeting, more like a how should I put this? Like a skills assessment meeting where we're in a meeting room with a bunch of other adults on the spectrum, and we were given sets of Legos to see where our skills were, our building skills were at. And I thought to myself at the time, how'd this get on my schedule? But so it was an interesting process to say the least, and I don't mean that to make fun at Mind Shift. I thought the process was interesting. But once I got in the door at Boston Scientific, it was an overwhelming change because I was a restaurant worker for over half a decade, and it was a challenge at first. And sorry, a lot has happened since then. So it was the process of how I got there was interesting. So I would say, looking back on this journey, I'm very thankful for the opportunity that Mindshift gave me, because without Mindshift, I probably would not have had the opportunity to work for a great company like Boston Scientific, because they're willing to work with people not only with autism like myself, but anyone with intellectual disabilities.
Tyler, what would you say is the most supportive thing that happens at Boston Scientific that makes you feel welcomed as a team member?
I would say the most welcoming, or what was your question again?
What is the most welcoming thing at Boston Scientific that helps you feel comfortable at work?
Just knowing that our supervisors are there for us when we need them, and they're trying to get this out.
It's okay. So you're saying that your supervisors have been very supportive of you. How has your role changed in the last 4 years? Are you doing something different today that you than when you started?
I am still doing the same process that I do now when I first started. So I work at a production line called Proximal Load. So I make balloon catheters. So how this process goes, ironically, just like Legos do. I have to throw in some funny right there.
That's great. We love funny.
So I put together the parts on a metal mandrel so I put the little inflatable balloon on a rubber tube called an outer, and then I put a heat shrink on there, and then to finish the part building process, I put a little O-ring, or as we like calling them, donuts, in my first few days on the job. And I put them on shuttles on a machine that gets sent through a laser bond process that welds the parts together. And I've been doing this process now for about 4 years. So it's the one station that I feel most comfortable working on.
How do you think your role at Boston Scientific over the last 4 years has impacted your personal life?
It's impacted me financially because I'm able to live on my own without support. So,
Please, round of applause.
yeah, when I first started this job, I was still living at home with my mom and stepdad, and then I also participated in the 2022 USA Games in Orlando for bowling. So I moved out a few months after the games, and I've been living on my own in an apartment in Maple Grove. So I'm literally about 5 minutes away from the Maple Grove facility where I work. So it's helped support me financially, because you need money to pay the bills. But it's also, I would say, it's shown me how important full-time work, still not coming out correctly. I don't understand why.
It's okay. Yeah. So you're saying that your work is important to you?
Yes, it is.
Do you have a best friend at work?
Oh, I got a lot of best friends at work.
Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with your colleagues?
there's a few conversations I have with some of my coworkers that we talk about sports. So that makes me feel comfortable going in every day. And there are, I'm sorry. There's a lot of conversations that I overhear that I get a kick out of every day. So that's my entertainment when I'm working. So there's multiple conversations between the NFL and the NBA. And I'm saying to myself, dang, these guys need to get on ESPN. But yeah, so, and Paul definitely knows what I'm talking about. Sorry, I had to throw you on the spot. But yeah, there's some of those guys are a few of my best friends, and I'm thinking about adding 5 of them to my fantasy football league next year.
That's great. Maybe they can come in and be ESPN for the games.
Yeah. For sure.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Can we give Tyler a round of applause? I'd like to flip it back to Jean for a few moments. Jean, could you share your journey with us, please, at MDI?
Yeah, it's a very long journey. I have been in the field supporting people with disabilities, mainly in employment for about 40 years, so I won't go that far back. But I have been with MDI for about 12 years. MDI is a nonprofit social enterprise with a mission of employing people with disabilities and a vision of providing meaningful employment for all people with disabilities. So that's really helping businesses. And we started work. If Tyler's a star up here, Paul is a supporting actor, because when Paul supported us, when he called us, it really was about finding out what worked at MDI. MDI has approximately 500 employees, and about 50% of them disclose some type of a disability. Our primary diagnosis of those 50% are individuals that have an intellectual disability. And so what we really work on is creating a culture where people can be successful. We're not the best fit for every person, but we want to be the best fit for people that fit the work that we have to do. We produce corrugated and profile plastic board, which then gets assembled into containers. Our primary customers are the United States Postal Service, Amazon, Uline, Frito-Lay, and we just make different shaped containers for them. The plastic is produced in Grand Rapids, and then it's sent to our other facilities to get assembled. And so it allows people, those entry-level jobs, to come in and get to work, and then we're able to work with them and help them develop their skills so that they can then be promoted into other types of roles. And so when Paul came to us, what we provided was the actual vision for him to see that this can work. We can find jobs that are good fit for people that have intellectual disabilities.
Thank you so much for sharing. Can you talk a little bit about your first conversation with Paul?
So that's a long time ago too. And I think we got connected because you knew one of our board members at the time, and she was like, you have to go to MDI. And so Paul and I connected, and he talked about what Boston Scientific wanted to do. And so we're always willing to share and work with organizations and businesses to help them be an inclusive employer, provide more opportunities for people with intellectual disabilities. And so you came out for a tour, I think, first, and you looked at our manufacturing floor here in Minneapolis, and then you came out again and you brought a group of people with you. And I think it got your fire burning, which is really what was instrumental in making it happen.
If I could ask the audience to notice one thing about our panelists today, other than Tyler's the star of the show and he's going to be amazing at the games, is that there is a clear thread between everyone sitting up here. It was Paul's conversation with Jean that led Boston Scientific to go down this route of hiring persons with ID, which is why Tyler is sitting here today. And all of that is started by the games and by believing in the power of athletes to inform how they show up in the rest of their lives. And so a big round of applause for our partners at Special Olympics Games. And I just want to point out too, Tyler pointed out on his arm, you want to tell everyone what it says?
Yeah. So at our mission at Boston Scientific is everyone makes an impact.
We have a few minutes left, and I'd love to open it up for the audience to ask some questions of our panelists. Yes?
First of all, thank you guys for coming out here today. Paul, Tyler, team, thank you so much. What you said here is really inspiring and extremely helpful. So thank you. My question for you guys is, it's a two-part. So Paul and Dee, can you describe to us, you mentioned in your presentation that you made a collective vision. Can you describe what that vision was like when dealing with people like ensuring that when they get hired, you're maximizing it? And then Tyler, can you explain to us in a few words what it felt like to experience that vision? Thank you.
So I would say, since MDI has been around for more than 60 years, and in the mid-70s is when our founders really came up with that philosophy about employment was the best thing that we could do for people with disabilities. And so our vision goes way back to then, and how we're able to continue to do that. When we are hiring, we cast a wide net. We really want to find people that fit that manufacturing need. It's not right for everybody. If you want to be in a retail setting, if you want to be in an office setting, then we're probably not the right place for you to be. But it does provide really good work. And so I think what Paul found was that this company, although we don't make catheters and other medical devices, we do provide those repetitive tasks that people do. And so I think that was where some of the synergy came between us.
Yeah, I'd agree with that in part. I think for me, being involved with an ERG at Boston Scientific leadership, education, and allies for disabilities. I had the opportunity to travel to some of the disability in conferences. And when we talk about the percentages, 18%, what does that look like in a company as big as Boston Scientific? Where's even the 18%, right? Because I'm not seeing them on my production floor. So what are we going to do to move the needle that way? And for me, that's where the manufacturing part is, because that's what I have oversight on. So to look at someone like Tyler, yes, he's doing the same thing that he came in and did, but he's there every day. He works his full shifts. His quality is impeccable. His output numbers are right where we need them to be. And we have production lines that are being shut down and moved to other locations. And Tyler is still on a production line doing that because he is of value to the team, right? There will be a time where Tyler is trained and moves on to other opportunities. I'll be very clear about that. And we've already started some of those conversations and what that would look like, where your heart is, what your interests are, what brings you joy. These are some of the things that you see in the book, the guide, and so we'll continue to drive that to the best of our ability together.
Thank you. And what was your question for me again?
Basically tell us in a few words what it felt like to experience that vision that both G and Paul and described.
It makes me feel valued for who I am, not for my disability, because I'm welcome just the way I am. And I feel confident going into work knowing that I work for a company that supports not only a great organization that I represent outside of work, but they also support me just the way that I am, because we are a diverse company, because we have people from all different cultures worldwide, and even some here in our home state. But yeah, they are very, they don't care who you are, what your background is. They are welcoming, they welcome you just the way that you are.
We have time for one more question. Yes.
Paul, I was wondering if you could talk about some ways that you've been able to create excitement and engagement and kind of bring the company Boston Scientific on board with this vision you're talking about. Did you find roadblocks or did you kind of find open pathways to encourage this kind of hiring?
Great question. Excitement's there. For every parent who has a son or a daughter with ID, there's a concern, right? What's going to happen when my son or daughter enters into adulthood? What does work look like for them? We have employees at Boston Scientific who have children who are in elementary school, who are in high school right now, and they see what we're doing at Maple Grove, in Arden Hills, and continue to work on spreading, and they're excited. They have hope that they didn't have before because they see what we're doing to provide opportunities to bring gainful employment to individuals with disabilities. So there's that excitement, right? The buy-in's there. I have trainers who have children with intellectual disabilities, and they want to help train our people that are coming in because they have patience. They have the experience of being at home and working with their own children, and they find successful ways to move the needle on what that training looks like at work. We have a very, very accepting and open and supportive senior leadership at Boston Scientific. And so when USA Games was announced to be coming to Minneapolis, I had an opportunity and the right audience to make an ask for a partnership consideration. They went back to Marlboro and had a conversation at the executive level and collectively said, yes, we want to be a partner for the USA Games. And so that excitement then, not just from the bottom going up with Tyler and others, but from the top being cascaded down through middle management. This is a movement that we believe in. We want to have a place in this realm, and we want to make a difference.
All right. Yeah.
So how many of you would like to be driving into work and think that you got to work with Tyler every day? Right? It's the excitement is important, but oftentimes it's just meeting your employees that have intellectual disabilities and getting to talk with them that gives you the passion to want to move it forward. And so earlier today, we had Schwan's Red Baron come to MDI and they took a tour because they want to move their efforts forward on inclusive employment. And MDI is our mission, unified work is our vision, and we really want to help individuals with disabilities gain the skills they need so that they can get a job. But my 40 years of experience tells me that people can have the skills, but if the business, the employees don't get it, it's not going to be successful. And so we want to help businesses be able to make that happen. The toolkit, the playbook is a really good opportunity for that to happen as well. And you have to do the first step that works for your organization. And that was one of the things that I think Paul and his team worked hard on is what are the first things that we're going to do to move this forward?
Can we give our panelists a round of applause? Thank you so much. Christy?
Frankie and the Accenture team, thank you so much. The investment that you've made to put assets in front of all of us that can make a difference, huge, huge. The impact is terrific. And Paul and Tyler and Jean, thank you. You're all writing a new chapter and leading the way for us in a very, very important way. This isn't just nice. This is important for our businesses, and we all know that the impact that it can have on the outcome of the business is one we just need to continue to replicate these stories. So thank you for what you're doing. We're very proud to call Boston Scientific and MDI partners of the games in this group, and we all have a lot to learn from your wonderful stories. So thank you for sharing them. A few things to wrap up. Again, the playbook, as Frankie said, is available on the table. Please scan it. Please don't be shy. If there are questions that you have or there's something that you're looking for that you don't see, find us so that we can help you get connected and help you continue on your journey. All right, we are 219 days out, like I said. Woo, it's coming, it's coming. What's ahead of us? What's ahead of us? It's been a very busy fall. We very much look forward to tonight and this opening of our store this week. We've got a couple of other events that we're looking for on the calendar, but quickly we will turn the page into 2026. In January, volunteer registration will open to the general public. We have 20,000 volunteer shifts to fill, which we hope translates to far less than 20,000 actual volunteers as people lean in and grab a number of shifts. But there has been no shortage of interest, questions that have come forward, interest. So we're very excited about what we'll be formally offering all of that opportunity out into the community. In March, we will celebrate what is Jersey Mike's Day of Giving on March 25th, 2026. I share that because that is the day that 100% of the proceeds from eating subs, the sales dollars from eating subs, will come to the 2026 USA Games. So, save up. No, again, another incredible partner story. We've got a number of different assets and campaigns that will be packaged up and brought out to partners as we get into the spring so that in your organizations you can continue to have what you need to recruit your volunteers internally and support the games in the way that you want to. In April, we are planned to have the last partner forum before the games actually takes place. So more to come on it as we get into the new year and start to shape that event. And then, like I said, the May 29th, the torch will be lit in Chicago and will start its 15 market run, and opening ceremonies then June 20th. So it's coming fast, and we couldn't be more excited. A couple of things that I wanted to just make the partners aware of, and much of this is what you're already experiencing in your organizations. Two things. One, many of you and your organizations have already been engaged around volunteer sign up. For those partners that had a sport naming right, all of the protected volunteer opportunities associated with your sport or the needs that that sport has from a volunteer perspective are sitting with you. And some of what I've already heard about what's been response within your organization with employees signing up is fantastic. As of yesterday, already 8% of our volunteer slots have been filled through what you're doing in your organizations. About 50% of the volunteer roles are those associated with the sports that are already recruiting volunteers. So thank you for that. The other thing that I know is in process is work to define your activations. More than not, what you will do with the space that you're afforded in the Fan Fest at the University of Minnesota or in the fan zones. Some of what has come forward has been beyond inspirational. I know that there's a little bit of healthy competition that's been sparked as one partner hears what another partner is planned to do in the fan zone, and that excitement is building and some one-upmanship we are very excited about. But should you have any questions about either volunteer recruitment or about the activation, designing your activation or what's entitled to you, Jennifer McDaniel, who is over in the corner, probably everybody knows Jennifer. Her contact information is here, and Jennifer will be around in the social hour here to take any questions. The last thing that I wanted to do is invite all of you, as I said at the outset, to come celebrate the opening of the store with us. This weekend, instead of leaving with gifts, as has been the case in previous partner forums, excitedly, our gift is a 26% discount, of course, for 2026 in the store that is active and will be active all weekend. So the store has all of the list of your names or name tags will avail the discount. We have some exciting collaborations. Unreal is our volunteer t-shirt partner. They've got some product that's up in the store that will, if it doesn't jump into your bag to take home, it'll certainly be that inspires signing up to volunteer to get those beautiful volunteer shirts that they're providing. And Wonderfold, another partner of ours, has made available what is a tailored wagon with the logo design on it for purchase. So we've got a couple of fun partner collaborations and other product in the store that we hope makes great Christmas gifts or stocking stuffers or things to enjoy over the holidays. So with that, I will open up the floor should there be any broader questions. We'll take anything about the games, what's coming, questions about any of the content that we covered. The floor is open. Too thorough. And people are hungry. Anything going once? Going twice? Sold. Tyler says sold. Sold. All right. Well, with that, Scott, please. When and where can we meet Champ? Yes, please. Where's Mary? Yes. Yeah, so Black Friday, Champ will be in the store. Is there a specific time we've already agreed? No? Okay. Okay. We'll get that in the materials. It's worth the trip. It's worth the trip. Anything else? All right, well, with that, I will officially draw the forum to a close. Again, thank you so much to all the partners and supporters in the room. And wishing all of you a wonderful holiday season. And we'll see you in 2026.